Are we live? I think we're live. Um, Elly's not with us yet. I got lots happening in my life right now today, so it's a little confusing. Uh, Elly will be with us shortly. I sent her the link. Hi, Rindy. Hi, Linda. I will go ahead and I guess I better wait for everybody to get here before I give any update. I did make a phone call to Larry yesterday, tried to reach him. Uh, Somebody picked up, but I did not hear Larry's voice, and um, I just said a one sentence and then hung up. So as for what the situation is, that's all I know is I made a phone call, somebody picked up, I said one sentence and then hung up. So whether who got the message, I have no way to verify that. And I'm sorry, I forgot to turn my cell phone off because I was trying to deal with something on the sale of my home just before we went live, and what I was trying to do didn't work. So turn the volume off the phone. I have been in prayer for the families of the 19 people. Well, actually, I think it's up to 21 or 22 who have died in Nashville with that horrendous tornado. I have checked on folks I know who live in Nashville or around Nashville. And I know there's somebody who's on the north side whose I think mother lives in Nashville. And when I thought I was connecting with the right person, it wasn't. So I am not sure who I should have been checking with. But if you are listening and are living in the something is wrong with the way Elly is connecting. There we go.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It didn't connect properly in the beginning, but there it is. I was just talking about Nashville, and then I've been praying for the families of the last report I heard was 21 or 22 had died with the tornadoes in Nashville. I checked with Diane. She lives nearby. She's fine. I checked with Mike about his son is in Nashville, and he's fine. I know there's an elderly woman that listens with her daughter. The daughter lives north of Nashville, and the elderly parent lives, I thought, in Nashville. And I thought I was contacting that person, but this morning, just to check on them, and apparently I contacted the wrong person. So I'm not sure. I've forgotten. So if you are the person I'm describing, would you let me know how you and your mom are if you hear this? Diane is fine. I heard that the school system in Nashville has been shut down for the rest of the week, so they have time to try to do, get things cleaned up. Now, of course, today's Super Tuesday for them in Tennessee, so they're supposed to be voting. And Sherry, your comment about polling stations have a problem because they have no power, that is why Larry says they have to provide paper ballots because they have to be prepared in any emergency. Now, we know there's an issue if a lot of the buildings are down, if polling places have been destroyed, there's a problem. So, and I saw somewhere this morning, I think it was either Direct Weather or BP Earthwatch was saying that Kentucky and Missouri were under tornado alerts today.
Yeah.
So EF3 at 2 a.m. Well, I saw several pictures of the devastation. So I'm trying to get some paperwork together. Oh, good, Diane. Thanks for letting us know that they've redirected people to other polling sites. I hope that they can actually vote, and but I don't know. This could be complicated. It'll certainly make things complicated because if people come rushing to alternate polls, thinking that because of the trauma, they can vote when they shouldn't. They, things should be provisional and so on. This could really taint. This could really taint their results. But thank God it's the primary, not November 3rd. But still, for the Republicans, we know pretty much, Trump's got it in the bag for the primary. But it's really important who's running against any incumbent Republican for the House and Senate. So I'm not sure. I forgot who. I have a list of who's eligible for re-election. We know all the House members are up for re-election, and hopefully they've got some new people who will get voted in. But the Senate, I can't remember. There are 20 Republicans and 13 Democrats. I think it's 13 that are up for re-election. They are doing everything they are doing everything they can to interfere with these elections, just to do whatever they have to create a problem for President Trump. I did hear somewhere, it was on the local talk radio station this morning, about 10 o'clock, I think, that said that the turnout was way bigger than they're used to, or than that is common. So if Nashville has a huge turnout and is being forced to deal with paper ballots, they may not have enough by the end of the day. So I'm not sure what they will do. Thank you. GOVOTETN.org. I would assume that's a way to check on the situation for people who are in the area needing to vote. Mimi said her polling station was very light. That's if it could be that a lot of the places like North Carolina, where there's not a lot of trauma going on, turnout being light, they may just be assuming that President Trump's got this, so they don't need to vote, but they forget about the down ballot races and how important it is to replace the incumbents. If you keep putting the incumbents in, then they get absolute power. So, well, as to the man-made nature of the storms, of course that's possible, given the technology that's available, whether it is or not. I guess, I'm not going to make a statement like that because I don't have proof of that. It's certainly possible to be man-made. Okay, another piece of news. I saw that Ivanka Trump wanted to vote for her dad, for President Trump, in the primaries. She has flipped her party affiliation to Republican. It was announced on Trump Train News this morning.
What was she?
She was Democrat. She's such a liberal. But, just like they did when Bill Clinton came into office and said, you will do what I tell you or else, and there were a lot of Democrats that said the Democrat Party didn't leave. No, they said, I didn't leave the Democrat Party left me. And so that's kind of where Ivanka is. She said that a lot of the values in the Democrat Party are no longer her values. Even though she's very much a liberal, she's not a socialist. So,
well, the party's split. You can see that with Biden and Bernie right now. Some are turning on Bernie and some are praising him. And you could see where Amy and Buttigieg is in support of Biden, not Bernie. And I think they brought in socialism just to stir up and get Trump's goat. And now they're realizing it could actually happen, it really could. And I think that scared them. Now they're like, oh, we want to go for Biden.
Well, you know, I think they realize the country, because of our generation, we know what socialism is. You know, I think they're realizing that it's too early to go all the way into communism. So, you know, they're waking up to that. I read something interesting on Facebook yesterday where somebody was suggesting that, Mayor Pete got out of the race. And I call him Mayor Pete because I'm trying to be nice, because if I use his last name, I'm going to say something that is not going to be nice, and I will just keep my mouth shut on it. So Mayor Pete dropped out, but the suggestion was made that he was a test case to see how ready America is for somebody like him. There I go again, swallowing the wrong way. Sorry about that. I had there it is, bottle of water. It's hard to know what they're going to do with the brokered convention for the Democrats. That's going to be real interesting come July, and see what they do. Vicki, I just gave a report on Larry. I tried calling him yesterday. Somebody picked up, but I did not hear his voice. I did not have a conversation. I gave one piece of information that I had signed a contract on my house, and then I hung up. So whether anybody in his family got that message or not, I have no way of knowing. And today, after I thought we had the contract negotiated, they're adding addendum and addenda, a couple of addenda, and so it's like, hey, when it's done, I thought it was, you're trying to renegotiate, and we haven't even had the inspection yet, and like, oh, good grief, it's just those of us that are really trying to follow the Lord and do what's right are just Satan's just not letting up and letting go, and if you are not having a lot of trouble in your life, you better look at where your relationship is with the Lord, because I'll tell you, the devil's on the rampage that his time is running short. So, yeah. Then another piece of news, I'm sure you've all heard that Netanyahu won. Now, I had heard yesterday that he had won 60 seats and just needed to flip one seat to give him the majority. And then this morning I heard that he had won 59, not 60. So he needs to find two people. And at least he's closer than he was on the last election. So hopefully, he's going to be able to make this happen, and then he will serve a fourth term. Somebody asked a question here that I thought I needed to a brokered convention. They're with the Democrats, the delegates go in supposedly with who they're supposed to vote for, and if they don't get a sufficient majority, at some point there's all kinds of negotiations that can go on behind the scenes to make them force the convention to accept who the powers that be want to win. So that's Elly, can you explain better than I did what a brokered convention is? I know it's a way that they can muscle somebody in that they want to muscle in, even if they didn't win anything in the majority in the primaries.
Well, with the senators or
no, we're talking about a brokered convention for the Democrat presidential candidate.
Oh, when they you're talking how he got Amy to go Biden?
No, I was talking about the Democrat convention is going to be real interesting this year to see who they end up putting up as the candidate against President Trump, because I think the Democrats realize, they don't want Bernie. He is so flaming communist. He's not just socialist, he's for flaming communist. And I think they realize that he will lose. He doesn't have a chance against Trump because there are too many of our generation that know what communism means and are not willing to accept that. By 2024, many of our generation will no longer be here, and the millennials who've been brainwashed to think it's a good thing will have a larger piece of the, I won't call necessarily the majority, but their numbers will be bigger, and they have been brainwashed, as Khrushchev suggested, that the communists took control of the school system and have taught the kids that socialism is a good thing. Mm-hmm. So Michelle in California says that their ballots are mail-in. Your paper ballots run through a scanner just like mine in Maryland. That's the same way it goes here. And I said, and how do I know that you are counting my vote? Because I get no receipt in Maryland to verify that my paper ballot was counted the way I voted. There's no way to know. So the only way you can prove that, there's been a problem is if the Democrat gets 100% of the vote or 120% of the vote, as sometimes happens. They're pushing Biden. Of course, they want to stop the Burisma probe because the fraud in Ukraine, because of how many others are going to go down with him. Mm-hmm. But
they really can't go. They can't really go beyond Burisma because they'll find out that they've been doing this in other countries with others. It's not just Biden that's been buying into the oil and gas companies. It's all of them, all the screamers, Pelosi and Hillary and Waters, Jackson Lee, quite a few of them. There's even Republicans have done it. That's their way of making money. It just depends on if you put the money to the people like it should be and hire people at a decent wage, or if you funnel the money through Greece or Italy and keep it for yourself. And so they really have to stop Burisma at any cost, or the Ukraine thing. And I never understood why they brought that up, because there's so much corruption there. And so to me, I think someone leaked it. And it just went boom with Trump and the phone conversation. Because I'm still looking to see who the leaker was, because it made no sense for the Democrats to say he made this phone call and twist it with it not really being a bad phone call. But then when they looked into it, then it ended up being all this big corruption with Biden. It makes no sense Democrats would do that, turn their own corruption in and expose it. So I'm looking for the leaker on that one. It amazes me that they pushed it as far as they did once the phone call was released. And my thing is, what happened to the second whistleblower that was firsthand info? Once Trump released the phone call, that second whistleblower kind of disappeared.
Well, I'm sure Schiff is tied up in all of that. So, yes.
And you see the thing on Hillary?
Yes. Judicial Watch has won the right to depose Hillary under oath. Now, come on, look what she did before Congress. I don't remember. She'll just keep saying, I don't remember, and get away with, not having proof. Mm-hmm. But I was told that the emails and all didn't just disappear, that somebody Had a copy got a copy of them, had a copy of them. And I think they have been given to the proper authority, who probably is keeping his mouth shut at this point. But that's hearsay. So I will just say that's hearsay, and don't hold me to that as fact. But
you know, the bad thing about it is, unless Barr or Durham find something on her that can open Benghazi back up, she ran it on statute of limitations. So this thing with Judicial Watch, it'd be great because he can turn everything over to Barr. But the bad thing is, the only thing that'll really come out of this is if we catch her in a lie. So the only thing they're really going to get out of this is if we catch her in a lie, and we can hit her up for lying. But that's a slap on the wrist. So,
well, you guys just remember, there is power in prayer. And so therefore, if you are a prayer warrior, let's be asking that she trips up and can be held on perjury. You know, I mean, Clinton.
Yeah. But the good thing, Mary Ellen, is once they get her on this, and if they can get her for lying, it's a start. And then the emails are pretty much in Barr's hands at this point, and he can really open Benghazi back up to even include Lynch and oh goodness,
Eric Holder.
Huh?
Eric Holder.
Maybe, because he wasn't really in that little circle. It's probably going to be her, Obama, and
Brennan,
I think,
or Clapper?
Huh?
Brennan or Clapper?
Maybe. It's going to be whoever was in the room at the time, and I believe it was a general and the chief of staff. For some reason, I think something along that lines of one of Obama's top people, because of that. And I want to say Loretta Lynch, because of the cartoon. It's going to open up that whole thing with Benghazi over the cartoon that started the whole problem that they said was the problem. And it ended up, it wasn't even the cartoon. It was basically to cause an uprising, because those were Soros's protesters to begin with. It was the Arab Spring. You remember that? When there was like the big one in Egypt, then Libya went down, and then the Libya thing, we saw that stuff, and she got all excited. And then it was, you know, basically once that happened, it was free for them to take the country and then pull the resources out of it. The only thing that Hillary didn't expect was Houthi.
Was who?
Houthi. Houthi rebels.
Oh, Houthi. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they weren't about to let her have the country and everything in it. They owned it, you know. So that really messed up their whole thing. Then Egypt didn't work either. So they didn't get nothing out of all of that. And
well, remember too that Larry told us, when treason is involved, there is no statute of limitations. And so,
right. That's very true.
There's a lot connected with Uranium One that has no statute of limitations. James Comey exonerated her of a lot of stuff. Should not have, but did. And so, you know, the amount of things that she can be gotten on will shrinks. But don't forget, Al Capone didn't go to jail for the big things he did. They got him on a little technicality, but it still was enough to get him put away.
Oh yeah, you remember that? Oh my goodness, you might not. It was early I'm going to say in the 30s or 40s when they got that couple for treason. And
And I can know who it is because I did a college history paper on it. Yep.
And all their pictures are in black and white with them being arrested and stuff. And they tried statute of limitations. They tried everything they could. And that's when, you know, it was really big that, no, treason, there's no, it's like murder, you know, murder, there is no statute of limitations on, and they'll convict you for it. And
Rosenberg's, that's right.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's it.
You know, it's crazy. But you know, that was a long time ago that I.
Yeah, but see, that's a perfect example of how, you know, for the stuff they did, it can be pulled out and compared to Bill and Hillary Clinton, and that's always been my wish, is to see both of them go down, not just her, because of his stuff too. You can't. Even though he had a great personality and he was so likable, I mean, doggone, he was. Mary Ellen, you'd like him. You'd think he was really cool.
Who?
Bill Clinton. He is likable.
No, there's no way I would. There's no way I would.
He would do that, but then when you found out what he was, you know, what he was really like, then you were like, oh, no. But he's got a really big personality. He really does. And
see, here's where you're mistaking me. That's not what impresses me. It doesn't.
I think you would. He was very likable, and it don't mean everybody fell for his scams that he pulled here, but he was just likable, and the crimes he did, being likable, are just as bad as what Hillary was doing in the State Department. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, it don't have Bill's little fingerprints all over it. Larry would probably tell you guys that he, you know, he's that little con artist up in the front, but, you know, he's got that knife and bomb behind his back, you know, ready to do harm to somebody that they can find. But yeah, he was kind of, he's pretty, to win all those women over. But you know, when he got those women, he would tell the troopers, I want her. I don't care. Offer her whatever she wants. You know, it almost like Bloomberg, I'll pay for it, you know. Crazy stuff. But no, this thing with Benghazi, it's really, really going to open it back up. And not only that, but the emails with the classified information. Now, if Lambert will take that, and you know, it's what he said, because I mean, realize Fenton has been doing this Freedom of Information Act, and it's through the Department of Justice. Now, what really got me was the lawyers that are defending Hillary are the lawyers that are at the Department of Justice. Yeah, that's something we found out this morning. And so you have the Department of Justice defending Hillary. And then, so who are they for us?
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
Yeah, big time. And then you wonder how come nothing's coming out, how everything's been slowed down.
Well, we knew that, I mean, Sessions had a problem with his department when he was head of the DOJ and when he was Attorney General, because the top level Trump was able to put in, you know, because they're cabinet members. But everybody down below had been all Obama people.
Or a lot of them.
There's so many people. DC is so Democrat, it is very hard. And Northern Virginia has become so Democrat. Maryland is so Democrat. We can't. And of course, I've said this many times, you know, but Maryland has been so gerrymandered. I'm in the second worst gerrymandered district in the whole country where I live here. So,
and so this Judge Lambert, and I know Jason Goodman, he likes them too. He has been working on this with Tom Fenton and his lawyers for many years. And first it was, we need more time. We need more time. You know how they did with some of this other stuff that even Mueller was in on. They always need more time. And so the judge waited and they went back in and they, after I think right about a year, the judge finally agreed, and so did the Fenton lawyers, to have her fill out, you know, like the questions and give her answers. Well, the judge wasn't really happy with that. And so then he had the lawyers tell her to come in, and she fought it. And then the lawyers answered the questions for her. And so this is what this judge is dealing with. And then when it came in again for her to testify, because the answers aren't there. They're just hitting like a wall with it. And so when he did this, he said, there's more to learn on this. And then he said, the court believes those responsible we need to know. And he said, and Hillary's responses are either incomplete, unhelpful, or cursory, at best, simply non-responses. And he says there's many more questions than answers. And at this point, he demands that she appear in person. And this is what I got from a transcript. So I think he's done. I think he has been, and they said, from what I hear, it came across very, very stern. So he's saying he don't believe her no more.
Who's this? Who's the he you're talking about?
Judge Lambert.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, I just read what he said. You know, the court believes that those responsible aren't being told to him.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Huh?
I'm going to ask a question. Do you suppose that these federal judges are realizing they may be losing their jobs in another year, or in less than a year? These federal judges, and they better start towing the line if they want to keep their jobs.
Well, I've watched Lambert for a long time, and at first, you know, he seemed like the Hillary lawyer, but he's also, I believe, the ones that did the Awan brothers. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah, that was a fiasco.
And
injustice.
He ended up, it got sent to another court, and because of the way Fenton was going after him, they had to go to another court, and this other judge let him off. And I always thought if they had stayed with Lambert, he might have. So what I'm seeing is, you know, all them judges that he's replacing, and there's a lot stepping down. And there has been, I think when my sister looked into it, there was like 80-something judges in the United States that have stepped down, and hundreds of CEOs on some of these foundations and some of these resources, oil, gas companies, and it's just hundreds. She says probably close to 1,000 of the Hillary people in different aspects had either stepped down, resigned, quit, or disappeared.
Well, the big question that I have with that, and you know, it's because this indicates that the swamp is draining itself, because they see the writing on the wall that they're done, and so they're leaving. My question, and chances are a lot of them are too old to come back later if things flip, maybe or maybe not. But my big question is, how many of their kids are going to step into their place and be just as bad or worse? You know, think of Soros's kids. You think of James Comey's daughter being assistant district attorney in Southern New York. Chelsea Clinton being groomed to come in. the arrogance of Hunter Biden, and he thinks he can get away with whatever. These spoiled brats that have been just had life handed to them on a silver platter.
Mm-hmm.
If they have the chance to step up, it just reminds me of scripture, where there was a cycle of, how do I do three so you can see my fingers?
Mm-hmm.
3 generations. You start with a godly generation. The second generation is sort of trained, but not real well. So you've got, for example, David, and then you've got Solomon. Solomon follows into a lot of his dad's sins and then some. And then you get to the third generation that knew not God. And here you've got Rehoboam, who has no respect for his position of authority and no concern or care for the people themselves at all. And so he says, you think my dad was hard on you, I'm going to make it 10 times worse. And that's when Israel split, and the 10 tribes, took off and said, forget you. Now, this was all part of God's plan, but it's the 3 generation cycle. And when I think of these, you got George Soros and their kids, my word, if we keep going, what in the world are we going to be coming to? And that's true just with seeing the millennial generation and how self-centered they are. The women can think that my body, my choice, and it's a good thing I did all my abortions. I mean, this is very, very concerning to me now that we're part of the older generation.
Mm-hmm. I think we're starting to, because all of the I can't think of the name of the group. It's with Dinesh DSouza and one of the young up and coming. He was on Mark Levin this last week, and they're hitting up the colleges, and it's getting bigger and bigger of the speakers they have, and they are now starting to see even the college students starting to turn on wanting to be for Trump and not socialist so bad. I think that's what he was trying to get across on the Life Liberty with Levin on Sunday, because he's right. You're slowly seeing it, which is good for us, Mary Ellen. We might not get beat up on the colleges. My daughter asked me, so what do you expect to happen? And I said, well, maybe they'll just throw water on us.
Water I can take as long as it's not filled with muriatic acid or bleach.
Yeah, as long as it's nothing else, or running us over with cars, or and I think that's just really crazy people out there that it just in a blue moon. But did you hear about that that DA out in LA, Lacey? He's a DA, and he's running for office, and he's a hardcore liberal. And some of the protesters got him really mad, and he threatened him with, I don't know if he threatened him with a gun or he threatened to shoot him with a gun, but he was attacking him. And when he started making his speeches and stuff on why he did it, and then off camera, he tells Veritas and what's the other one? It was I want to say Vox. It's one of them, not very well known Democrat supporters, papers or news, that he got these feelings from Maxine Waters because they're supposed to attack conservatives and attack protesters.
She's told them, her people, multiple times.
Yeah, but see, this was a DA that did this, attacking someone that didn't like him. So now we've got DA people threatening protesters with a gun. So, It's getting kind of scary out there. But hopefully, Gloria says it was Vox. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was Veritas, Vox, and that he said it off camera. And thank God for Veritas, because they have been really good at catching these guys on camera, but hidden. And
well, it's kind of scary that Bernie's people are talking about, oh, the gulags weren't bad, and we need to just lock up any Trump supporters, and we're coming after you, and we're going to get you, and Bernie's not saying absolutely nothing about it, which indicates his support for all of that, and then Biden's people aren't. Boy, they sure are keeping quiet.
Yeah. I just can't believe that they're going to these rallies. And even the one, the debate, they're saying they're barely getting 1,000 people to show up for this. They're almost like begging people to come in. And the rallies, they're saying the biggest are about 3,200 to 3,500. And Trump, the rally he had last night, they had 35,000 waiting to get in yesterday morning, according to one news, OAN news, and another one that's something broadcasting. I'm bad with names, y'all. You'll find that out knowing me. If I don't write down the names, I'll forget them. I'm really bad.
OAN is One America News.
Yeah. I have a feeling, Randy asked about Julian Assange, because I really love Julian Assange because I use WikiLeaks a lot. And I believe he's going to come here, and it's Adam Schiff and Schumer that's after him. So, I mean, they're going to twist everything. And I'm really kind of hoping we bring him here and we kind of give him a little bit of asylum. But he's very, very sick. It's concerning how frail and sick he is now. I wish they would just go through the trial, figure out what they're going to get him for, and Trump pardon him and let him live the rest of his life. It's not, they keep thinking he did this. No, these are whistleblowers that left info with him and documents. Like, all those things that Larry took. He could have been a WikiLeaks whistleblower. Or Snowden was another one. And I've even heard some whistleblowers even admit some of their stuff did go to WikiLeaks. And we can't blame Assange for something that he's getting info on. It'd be blaming me for the people that come to me and whistleblow to me, but say, oh, I'll say, can I say your name? And they'll say, oh, no, you can't do that. I get whistleblowers, and you can't punish someone for that. And I'm really hoping that Trump will take care of them, because it's just not right what they did to him. But, when you're talking Schumer and Schiff and Pelosi and that whole gang, they're all angry. They're all hateful. And if you support Trump, they're really going to dig it up and find the next thing they can get him for. They're like, what did I call it last night? I was talking to a gal that decided she was going to bring up more hoax stuff on Trump. And I told her, oh, why don't you just forget about this one, because I debunked it, and go and dig in the trash until you find something you can bash Trump with. And I said, yeah, you're a trash digging Trump basher or something like that. But it was over the horses this time. And the horses have been being killed for decades. And I was a big advocate for it many, 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 many decades ago when I first heard about it. Living in California, Nevada's right there. And I got a brief look in real time real life of the wild Mustangs in Nevada. And it was beautiful. And then the BLM came around and considered them invasive, and they were tearing up the land, which it's desert, tumbleweeds, few bushes, maybe one little small cloud in the sky and nothing else. And they were supposedly tearing up the terrain and causing havoc, so they started slaughtering them by the dozens. And then it was the burros. And so that was the one I was big on, was the Mustangs and the burros. And it's still happening today. So the newest hoax on Trump is he is ordering the slaughtering of wild horses. And this is something that's been going on for many, many, many years. And it's sad, but it's just something else they're going to dig out of the trash to hoax Trump. Just like that, the virus. You know, he said the Democrats were a hoax. And, you know, they twisted it around. Of course, Trump called the virus a hoax. It's Schumer and all of them that just keep twisting. And, you know, they're going to twist Julian Assange just like they twisted the Trump Ukraine thing. Just like they keep twisting and leaking. And they're really, really good about leaking to the media wrong info. And the media run with it. You could tell people it's fake news, old news. Like I pretty much said it was old news on the horses. And, you know, this gal really got upset at me for it. I said, oh no, because Trump did it. Trump did it. And see, the thing with it, yeah, maybe Trump, I mean, when you read the article, well, yeah, what it is Harry Reid was more responsible for the horses. And see, people need to realize when each state gets their funding from the feds, and they give them for all their federal programs for their state, well, then it goes to each individual departments, and it's up to them to decide what programs they're going to stick it into. And that's pretty much what I found out through BLM and the Forestry Service there in Nevada is what had happened. And because the horses are so evasive and they are tearing up the natural land, that they need to be removed. And you can't just remove horses because they'll just run back across the same property. And they think that they're overabundance, they're going to kill them all off. And they use them for meat for the poor and for the Indians out there, is what they told me. And I was like, but what if nobody eats horse meat? You know, are you even telling them it's horse meat? And of course they get mad and hang up on me when I say stuff like that. So the thing is now they're being paid with our tax dollars to kill these animals by the dozens. And it's really sad to watch, because they'll get their helicopters out there. They run them and run them and run them and run them until they collapse. Then they beat them, they tie them up, and they drag them off into the pens. And they have been doing this for decades, Mary Ellen. And it's hard for me to watch without hearing that.
Well, then that Maryland is doing one thing right then, Maryland and Virginia with Chincoteague Island, because the wild horses there, they will have a roundup and swim them across the channel and go to Chincoteague Sound and have an auction every spring. And you can buy, you know, a few of they collect so many and put them up for auction.
Uh-huh.
And I've never been to one of those, you know, roundups, but
you know, some of them they do auction off like that, but for the majority they send them to the slaughter. Now Willie Nelson he opened up, I mean, tons of acreage, and he's been taking the wild horses, and he even wrote a song about it a few years back that I thought was really cool. But that's the kind of hoax they put out, like, oh, Trump did this, just like we talked yesterday about the crud in the streams that they blame Trump for the coal companies. And they just look and look and look for the tiniest for anything to get him on, and then twist it that, you know, he did it when it's something that it's out of his hands that he probably didn't even realize was going on. I'm pretty sure if Trump knew that was happening, he would put a stop to it, but he can't be everywhere at once in this country to stop everything. And I'm hoping, you know, maybe another 4 years for him, he could work on some of this stuff like the horses. You know, the other thing was that dealt with us a little bit was the Bundy branch, the Bundys, because it was over the turtle. They were trying to protect a stupid turtle that hardly even existed. And not to mention there was an overabundance, and they were talking maybe having to remove turtles to move them somewhere else in the state because there was too many that was on that land at that time. So, and or the spotted owl, that was the other one that, you know, everybody had to work around because a spotted owl. And the straws was over a turtle in California. They just pick one little thing and they just fly with it. I guess today's hoax day, Mary Ellen.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to wrap up. We are just about out of our hours for the month, and we have till Friday, and we've got fewer than 4 hours left, including today. So if we end a few minutes early, we will only be maybe 5 minutes over, and I won't get in trouble. So I'm just going to say, somebody made a comment about, you know, Larry coming back with a vengeance when he comes back. I can't remember who said exactly what you said, but you know, that's our expectation that he will be back. And I really have no idea what his status is right now. Like I did say at the beginning, I did made a phone call yesterday, and somebody did pick up, but I said one sentence and then that was the end of it. I do not know. I don't know who heard it, and you know, I don't know if it registered or with anybody in his family, and I'm really not sure who it was that picked up. So where he is, what's going on, we all are in the dark, and they need privacy for his safety. And they need privacy because, you know, HIPAA laws grant him that. So we are just going to be patient, and Elly and I will be here until he returns. And so just keep praying for him. Jason is doing great. Elly was supposed to have been on with him, she thought, during this hour, which is why I was so late in getting the announcement about the show up, because I was waiting to find out, you know, if she was going to be with Jason during this hour or not. So,
and I got good news there.
Yeah, go ahead with it.
I didn't do Jason's show because it's Larry's spot, and me and Jason talked about it, and he's very interested in my Clinton crimes because I got many, many, many of them, and I do them on Fridays. And he wants to bring my Clinton crimes over to his show. They're going to call it Arkansas Investigations with Elly. And he's going to have me on a couple times a month. And so I'm very excited. I'm very, humble. And I've been thanking God all morning long because it's wonderful news for me. And so I will be having my own show with Jason Goodman, and it was decided that I don't want to interfere with Larry here. I don't want to interfere with Larry on his Tuesdays with Jason, and to kind of step me up and put me on my own and do my own shows. And so it's good news for our investigative news. And my brother and sister are ecstatic over this news. We're all very, very happy, and we thank God for this. We thank God. We've been praying a long time for this. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good. So are we. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye, folks. Thanks for being here, and we'll be back tomorrow. I've already set up the show for tomorrow. So we're ready to go for that. So congratulations to Elly, and we're really happy for you and looking forward to being able to listen to that. So, all right, guys, see you tomorrow. God bless you. Bye.